Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Swish Waterlad podcast. For anyone who's new to the podcast, Swish is an awesome platform where you can get a video message from some of your favourite sports stars. It is the ideal gift for someone, especially anyone out there who idolises a sports star. I even got my own one last week from someone I'm loving watching play. One of my favourite players at the moment, Big Peter Gus Cooler, and I absolutely love it. I can also get you 10% discount off your purchase with the code WATERLAD, and believe it or not, up to 70% of all proceeds go to Kiwi Kids charities, which is the best bit of it all. I'll leave a link in the description so that you just have to click on that. Also, if you want to see my message from Big Peter Gus, head over to the Waterlad Instagram page and it'll be up there so you sort of get an idea of what it's like. Also, before we start, I have the great Tim Bateman here with me to tell you about this exciting opportunity that he has for all Waterlad listeners.
Cheers, Jimmy. Are you looking for an exciting career for life after rugby? My name's Tim Bateman, and I've been a professional rugby player for the last 17 years. My plan for life after rugby was to get into the wellbeing and recovery industry, so I built O Studio, New Zealand's largest wellbeing and recovery centre. O Studio has given me a career option where I can take advantage of the skills I've built through rugby. It works for my family. It lets me own my own time, and it's given me the financial freedom I need to do what I want with my life. Despite the challenges of COVID, we've seen consistent growth in our business, and we've decided to expand O Studio throughout New Zealand and abroad. It's an exciting time for the wellbeing industry, and we're looking for top lads to be a part of it by opening your own O Studio. If you're interested, head to ostudio.co.nz/lad to inquire, or send me an email at tim@ostudio.co.nz. Back to the show.
What a lad, what a lad, what a lad, what an absolute lad. What a lad, what a lad, what a lad, what an absolute lad.
Oh, what a lad. Well, there'll be a lot of you happy with the guest I have on today, as I've had plenty of requests to get this lad on. He's had a hell of a career to date after starring for Canterbury, winning all sorts with the Crusaders, and even achieving what every Kiwi kid dreams of and becoming an All Black. Last season, he headed up north to the mighty Manawatu Turbos, where he was one of the best players in the comp, and he is currently over in Japan playing for his beloved Kamaishi Seawaves. And on top of all that, by all accounts, he's one of the greatest lads around. It is the champion, man. Brett Cameron, welcome, mate.
G'day, Jimmy. Cheers for having me. Cheers for the intro. Big fan of the show. Always tune in and listen to a few good yarns, so stoked to be on.
Mate, appreciate you coming on, fitting it into your busy Japanese schedule over there. I understand you got a week off, but you're still getting absolutely hammered.
Yeah, it's a bit different. Getting used to the training load over here. We're still flat out in the bye week, but it's all good.
And avoiding contact?
Yeah, just being smart still in those contact drills, just getting on the edge. A few just second shoulders in there, that'll do me.
Mate, how you finding it over there in a hole? How are you finding the lifestyle and life in Japan?
Yeah, it's not too bad. I love Japan. It's an awesome place to live, and the people here are awesome, so it's been a cool experience so far. Didn't realise sort of how far away Kamaishi was initially. It's way up north, so it's a quiet little town, so there's not a lot to do here, but been trying to get out and about a wee bit.
And you got a good group of foreigners there, obviously the people's champ Sammy Henwood and Morgan Mitchell as well. If he's anything like his brother Scratcher, he'll be a lad as well.
Yeah, a couple of absolute lads, so it's awesome to have those boys just to kick around with and talk some shit with at training.
And how are you finding the footy? Like, it's obviously a different style and different level to what you've been playing.
Yeah, it's a lot different. The team's been struggling quite a bit, so it has been a wee bit frustrating and still kind of getting used to dealing with that, I guess. But you just got to adjust and get used to, I guess, a different way of playing. But it's still enjoyable and still having a good time. Just hopefully we can get a few good results in this back end of the season. Yeah,
and running the cutter at 10 with all Japanese players around you. I know I personally struggled with that, but how are you going? Your Japanese or Nihongo must be pretty fluent.
Far from it. I've dabbled in a few lessons to try, but that goes out the window when you're on the field. Still getting used to sort of coming around the corner and it's just crickets outside. Yeah, so it's a bit different, but still good.
Have you got a translator with your team?
One of the halfbacks is our translator, so it's handy when he's on the field, but sometimes if he's not playing, it's sort of, you try chip in the huddles, but you don't really know what's going in and what's just going straight over their heads. So
Yeah.
it's tough at times.
And Stephen Donald mentioned about the kick pressure over there, how hard it is for a 10 to try and apply his kicking game on a game without the kick chase. But have you found that over there as well?
Yeah, I listened to that and I was cracking up. I've had a few similar scenarios for sure. But sort of just try to keep the ball in hand a bit more anyway.
Yeah. And did you just sign a 1-year contract, was it?
Yeah, just over here for the season, yeah.
Because there was a lot of talk around a lot of Super Rugby teams wanting to get you out of this contract after your season with Manawatu. How close were you of getting out of the contract?
Yeah, it was a bit of a tough one. Sort of tried to look at it a little bit, but unfortunately it was just a bit late in the piece, so I didn't want to pull out that late, and I was pretty committed to coming over here, and it was a bit unfortunate the timing. Would have loved to stay in New Zealand, but still it's been an awesome experience coming over here.
Not bad for the wallet either.
Yeah, not too bad. Definitely not chinning what some of those big boys are down in Tokyo.
Yeah, that's true. The D-Max of the world, they're taking it all for everyone. But your plan's still to come back to New Zealand. You're back with Manawatu and then see what happens. You filled up your pockets and hoping to give Super Rugby a crack next year. Is that sort of the goal?
Yeah, I'm back with Manawatu. Really looking forward to that, and yeah, that's my goal at the moment. I want to play Super Rugby again. I guess coming over here sort of reconfirmed that for me, that I just really want to compete at a high level and test myself, I guess, prove to myself that I can compete, at Super, and I'd love to get the opportunity, so we'll see what happens.
What teams were after you? All of them?
Nah, there's only sort of one that had a crack in the end, but yeah, it was just a bit too late.
And is that the team you're potentially looking to go to next year, or are you just going to see how the season goes and then assess it later in the year?
Yeah, I think I sort of just have to see how it goes. Obviously, can't control what those teams are thinking at the moment, and they've got some quality 10s and all the teams playing in a good competition at the moment. So just got to wait and see, and hopefully I can still put my best foot forward if there's still time.
Mate, exciting stuff for New Zealand Rugby to have you back in the game over here. But as always, I know you're a listener, so I'd like to go back to what it was like for all my guests growing up. So I don't know too much about your upbringing, but pretty keen to hear it.
Yeah, awesome. Grew up in mighty Wanganui. Had an awesome childhood. Just grew up around sports all the time. Dad was a keen sportsman, and it was just sort of rugby all winter and cricket all summer pretty much through all of my schooling, and had an awesome bunch of mates and a lot of family in Wanganui, so it was an awesome place to grow up.
How'd you go at cricket?
Not too bad. I used to just bat and keep a little bit, played just a lot of club cricket in Wanganui, and made a few rep teams through the grades, and absolutely loved it. Still love it. Haven't played in a while, but always watched it on telly, and yeah, I was lucky enough to sort of play for Wanganui men's team for a few years, so that was good fun.
Well, you would have been coming through the same age grades as Geordie Barrett, were you? Yeah,
we played together, Central District's under 17s, so we used to play against each other when we were younger as well, when he was playing for the Naki, so he said I had him for his first six, so I'll take that. Tried to bowl a bumper the grub at a short little fella who's probably not as much higher than the stumps, so sent him on his way.
And then you followed him down to uni, down at Lincoln Uni, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was a bit of a late call going to uni down in Lincoln, and I didn't really have many mates that I knew going, but I knew Geordie was going, so it was awesome to have him down there, and we sort of just kicked around together for the first few weeks until we found our feet.
Were you living with him?
We were both in the halls first year, and then we lived together our second year, flatting. think he mentioned it on here as well. We're in a flat of 7. In our second year, it was a good time.
Sounded like you guys got up to all sorts. Sounded like loose times.
I don't know how he played NPC that year the way he did, considering our living situation.
And were you in the NPC squad at the time, or were you playing club rugby at this stage?
No, I was just playing club footy. Yeah, played a few Canterbury B development games, but just playing for Lincoln.
Is that the Mighty Rams?
Yeah, sure is.
Mate, give me the rundown of life as a Ram. It sounds like it's one of the great times. Lots of questions came in about the Mighty Rams.
Yeah, it's awesome. Still love going back and playing for them. It's awesome playing with those boys, and it's pretty cool now. Obviously, when we were young, we got to play with a few Crusaders and stuff that would come back. So now being on the other side of it, it's so cool to mix and mingle with those young boys and see they're still getting up to mischief like we used to. But we always had a really strong side out there, so it was good footy and it was good fun.
Do you just come back and dominate the court sessions and stuff?
Nah, I don't know if I want to see what's going on in there now. I don't know, hopefully it hasn't gone any worse, but I went back to 1 initiations and it's crook. Like, yeah, it still haunts me. I was so scared going into it as a wee 19-year-old.
What'd you have to do?
Probably don't want to say half of it, but yeah, it's just, yeah, all sorts.
So when did the switch flick that you were going to try and give professional rugby a go? When did you think this was an opportunity for you?
Actually, not till I left school. Cricket was my main sport pretty much all the way up until I left high school. But in my final year of school, I made a couple of camps with the Hurricane schools and New Zealand schools. So after that experience of sort of like a higher level and a bit of a professional environment, I sort of thought, this is what I'm keen to do. After that, I think I was playing some decent rugby. Colts my first year, that was awesome. But it still seemed like a long way away. I remember watching the Div 1 team and thinking, geez, like hopefully I play this before I leave uni. But made the under-19s, and then we, from there, sort of a couple under-20s camps, and then that was when I sort of really wanted to push on. And once I got into the Crusaders Academy, that was a big step up and sort of gives you a taste of what you need to do to make a professional team, and that was probably the best place to be for it. So I learned a lot and just wanted to keep getting better.
And how did the Canterbury call-up come about?
I actually signed a development contract with Tasman that year.
Did you?
So I was about to head up they wanted me to go up and play club rugby up there, and in the end I sort of just had to ask the coaches and stuff, like what are the chances of me actually getting a full contract out of this or playing, and it was pretty low, so I ended up pulling pin and just staying in Christchurch for club rugby. Played a couple of the Ranfurly Shield pre-season games and went alright, and then ended up getting a contract from that, so worked out in the end.
True. Did you feel comfortable playing in those games, those Ranfurly Shield games? Did you feel like you were good enough?
Yeah, I think so. Basically, the whole team was club players at the time, so I felt like I was playing some pretty good club rugby, and it was pretty cool. Made my debut for Canterbury against Wanganui, hometown in a Shield game, so that was pretty crazy. Growing up, always wanted to play for the Butcher Boys, and then playing against them, so that was awesome.
True. And then what about when you had your debut in a NPC match? Yeah,
that was an awesome feeling, and it definitely felt like a massive step up, just the pace and the physicality. But that year was probably still one of my most enjoyable years. We had an awesome team, ended up winning that year in 2017, but I got not too much game time, but started a couple of games and just little cameos off the bench here and there, and just I guess I was sort of just not thinking too much that year and just playing instinctive, and I really enjoyed it.
And is that when you got your call up to the Crusaders after that season?
No, I didn't. I I just did a pre-season with them after that first year.
Yeah.
But ended up being on the bench for a couple of games and playing one just as injury cover. I think Richie was injured and maybe Mike Delaney had a wee niggle.
You mentioned Richie there. Obviously, he's recently come on the podcast, but someone you've been behind a lot throughout your career. You mentioned not getting too much of a run in the Canterbury squad in 2017. Obviously, he was running the cutter then. Pretty much through your whole Crusaders time, there was that man in front of you as well. So what was it like being under him? What did you learn from him? What's he like?
Yeah, he's awesome, eh? We're really good mates now, and it was so cool coming in, and he was someone I looked up to. So to sort of just shadow him for a few years, and especially that first year, and just I didn't say too much, just sort of followed and watched how he prepared, and I guess what goes in during the week for his performance on the weekend. So that was awesome. But yeah, at times like it's a tough act to follow. He's such a good team man. Like when he speaks, everyone listens, and he's a bit of a joker. So there was like a bit of pressure, I guess, and just in my own head at times, like having to stand up in front of the team after someone like that was pretty tough initially.
And what about on the field as well? Obviously, off the field, he has this persona that everyone respects. What about on the field with the performances? He obviously has driven that side round very well for obviously the past 5 or 6 years, and every time you get the opportunity, is the expectation the same?
Yeah, he's awesome. Obviously, you see what he's done in the last few seasons of Super Rugby. He's a crazy player and very smart in the way that he can deal with scenarios out there. So I learnt a lot in that respect, and just had to try and take my opportunities when I got the chance.
And you obviously did, because a big moment in your career was when you were named for the All Blacks. Talk me through that whole experience from your point of view.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy initially. I'd only played one game that year for the Crusaders, and was just playing NPC. And I remember the team naming that they were doing that big 50-man squad for the Northern Tour for that Japan game, and I was really keen to tune in just to see if any boys I knew were going to make it.
Yeah.
But never thought that I was a chance, and we're out training, and then our coach brought us into the team room after training, and he sort of just rattled off all the boys that were getting picked, and we were stoked for guys like Bridgie, Drummo, and stuff that hadn't been there before, and then my name was last, and I sort of paused for a second, like had to see if he was being serious, and the boys sort of just erupted, and it was a bit of a whirlwind, but it was awesome. And just going into that environment after a good NPC campaign was like just topped off an awesome year, and it was an unreal experience.
Yeah, that's crazy. I know a lot of guys say they weren't really expecting their name to get read out when they're sitting down and watching it, but like you said, you'd only played one Super Rugby game, so I could imagine you were literally shocked when your name was read out.
Yeah, big time. No idea whatsoever.
And did you feel comfortable going in the environment?
Probably not. Like, it made it a lot better having lots of good mates in there, having Geordie and the Canterbury boys, and I roomed with Richie all week, so that made it a lot easier for me, and I think the coaches sort of made that week quite relaxed for us. Obviously, it was a pretty new team, and we only had a week to prepare, so there wasn't too much going on that week, but it was crazy initially just going into and sitting in the team room and looking around at the boys that were in there. But, that's where you want to be, and it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and then talk me through the game. You obviously playing against Japan. You were on the bench. What do you like on the bench? You a nervous wreck, or you're all good?
For some reason, that game I wasn't nervous at all. I was sitting there like, I'm way more nervous playing for Lincoln than I am here at the moment, so it was a bit weird. But I guess it's tough, like when you're a 10 on the bench, you're usually the last one to get on, so you get to that stage when you're like, oh, come on, I just want to get out there.
Yeah.
And just sort of take it off. But I think it was about 7 minutes or 8 minutes to go, and got the call to get out there, and I was just really excited to get out there and have a crack. Unfortunately, I think I touched the ball once. We were just on defence. I didn't get to do too much, and it went by pretty quick.
What a touch that was, though.
Yeah, I think I got a bit lucky there. I just ran a line off Richie as the ball was going into touch. I was either going to get lit up or go through, and thank God I went through.
Oh, one of the greats. You're probably so relaxed that you're probably more nervous about the haka before you sat down on the bench, were you?
Yeah, 100%. You always sort of wonder like if the boys practice it and stuff, but we did like one little low-key run through, but I guess you do it in front of the TV, you definitely know it, like as you're a kid, so... But I was more nervous for that, actually, like looking up at the big screen, I was like, geez, what's going on here?
Get the camera off me.
Yeah. No poo cutters over here.
Yeah, but Ethan said that he learnt his off YouTube. So is there a little bit of truth to that? You actually only sort of do one quick practice?
Yeah, one little captain's run, I guess, just in the hotel. I think, yeah, maybe we just did it because there was so many new boys that we were all a bit nervous about it.
So did you know the haka already, just from what you'd seen before?
Yeah, pretty much. Like I knew we'd probably do the old one,
Yeah.
and I think, yeah, Steve said during the week, he's like, yeah, we'll do the old boy, and so pretty much knew it.
And then post that game, talk to me about what life was like for you post that game. I felt like you copped a fair bit of criticism for your selection potentially. Did you feel any backlash from being named?
Yeah, a little bit. But initially, like I didn't think about it. I came home back to Christchurch for a bit, back to the races. Enjoyed my summer with the flatties down there and back home. So that was good fun. But I sort of knew coming back that I was going to get a bit of stick. But it is what it is. It always happens. And I guess like parents and good mates and everything sort of just reassured me that, you know, that doesn't just happen. You're picked for a reason. So I just had to believe that. And I didn't feel like I went out with too much pressure the following year, but at times I probably did get a little bit in my own head about it and just wanting to perform.
And then the following year, same situation for you. Didn't get a huge amount of game time from memory, still sitting behind Richie. Yeah,
it was tough. Sort of just getting 5 minutes off the bench here and there. And I guess at a stage I sort of got into a bad mindset of, looking back, it's a shocking mindset, but at times you feel like when you come on for 5 minutes, the game's already won and all you can really do is kind of stuff something up. So yeah, it was tough sort of just being in those situations more often than not. But that's on me, like you just got to be ready to take your opportunities, and yeah, unfortunately that year didn't go too well.
Did it ever cross your mind to change franchises, or were you always pretty comfortable down there, happy in that Crusaders environment?
Yeah, it did a little bit, but I actually didn't have any sort of opportunities come my way to move, but definitely thought about, you know, I want to go somewhere to have a crack at being the starter. That was always the goal.
And then talk to me about the move up to Manawatu, the mighty Turbos.
Yeah, it sort of came up just after the 2020 NPC season. I sort of sat on the bench for most of it, and I just sort of felt like I had a lot more to offer than what I was getting that year. And yeah, initially I wasn't too keen to move. I wanted to keep going, but just saw it as an awesome opportunity for a change. Like I hadn't had change since I moved from school. Like I'd always been in Christchurch, so it was a good opportunity to challenge myself in a new team. And I guess just game time was a massive part of it. Like just being in the saddle and being able to sort of grow as a leader and run a team.
And you obviously did that straight away, massive influence on the Turbos. How'd you find it once you were up there?
Yeah, I loved it. Awesome bunch of lads, and it was awesome for me just being close to home. It's just 45 minutes down the road, so I think that benefited me a lot as well, just being back with family and friends, and sort of gave me that time to just head home and switch off from footy at times. But yeah, going there, I just wanted to earn the respect of the boys, and I think once I felt like I was going all right, then I was able to sort of step up more as a leader and keep growing my game and growing the team.
Did you feel like there was pressure on you coming into the side, being probably the marquee signing, the 10? Did you feel extra pressure around that?
Initially, like, I sort of thought about it, but I was just really excited to go and didn't really feel any pressure. Once I went up there, it was sort of the opposite, and it just came back to having fun again and just really finding the enjoyment. And I think that always just shows when you're playing your best, you're just having fun and not thinking too much.
And you mentioned there was a fair few lads up there as well. You've got the likes of Chippy, Liam Mitchell, and all these roosters up there who love having a good time, so no doubt you fitted in well.
Yeah, probably hung out with him a wee bit too much.
But you didn't get to experience the bucket heads at full force. Obviously, COVID put a dampener on that. But, mate, this year, hopefully crowds are back and you're going to get to experience the bucket heads up in that corner winding you home.
Oh, fingers crossed. There was a few up there for one game, but yeah, we need to get them back out in full force. Maybe Chippy will come back for a holiday from Italy and get them going.
Oh, they could do with Chippy to return as their inspirational leader, definitely. I could imagine you would have been a bucket head back in the day too if you were up there.
Probably if I was in Palmy. Never really supported the Turbos. We were just sort of always just Wanganui.
Have you got any ambitions to play for Wanganui at any point?
Yeah, I'd love to. No real like ambition, but if the opportunity came up at the end of my career, like I'd love to do it. And there's actually heaps of boys playing like Super and stuff now. And when we're home, we always talk about it. Like there's Sam Malcolm, Te Rangatira Waitokia, who played for Manawatu, and they're over in America.
Yeah,
they want to do it at some stage. And then there's Stevie Pirafeta, Joe Nanariki, Vilamoni Karoi. So we always talk about if we could all get out on the field for Wanganui at one stage, that would be good stuff.
Yeah, imagine that. Might be a shield defence. Pre-season shield defence.
Try to get it back down in the heartland.
Oh, imagine that. That would be loose. But what are your plans other than coming back to New Zealand? Have you got much of a goal for sort of the next 5 years? Have you're keen to give New Zealand rugby another crack? You sound like you've got unfinished business here.
Yeah, haven't got like too much of a long-term plan, but yeah, for sure want to come back to New Zealand, and ideally the next couple of years in New Zealand. Be awesome to play Super, and then yeah, definitely keen to get back overseas and have some new experiences again. Yeah, playing rugby overseas.
Is the All Blacks a big goal for you? Is that a big carrot for you?
Not really at the moment. Like, I guess it's always there a little bit. Like you'd love to get back there, and anything can happen. And I guess I know that if I can come back and play some good rugby, who knows? But at the moment, for me, it's just I just want to come back and play at a high level, and I know my best footy's still ahead of me. So looking to do that in New Zealand at the moment.
Mate, after talking to Beaver a few weeks ago, I feel like this story has a fair bit of Beaver about it, and potentially you might be getting a late call-up into the World Cup over in France next year.
Yeah. Maybe I'll just go find a river and go white baiting somewhere while that's going on.
I'm predicting it. I reckon you're going to have a massive Super Rugby next year. The criticism will probably still be coming. You'll get the call-up and you'll be kicking a winning goal.
Oh.
We will see. But also, life after footy. I know you're only 25. It's a long way away for you, but you've been studying at uni. No doubt you're a very intelligent man. What are your plans?
Yeah, finished up at uni somehow. Only took me 5 years to get a sport and rec degree. But I guess I've got that to fall back on. And just from school, I had like an awesome teacher and coach, and he was like a mentor for me. And I guess ever since then, I've always wanted to be a teacher, and just I guess have the opportunity to do that for someone else would be awesome. So that's probably the only thing I have at the moment that I have a bit of a passion for.
How'd you manage to finish your degree? I know a lot of young guys are trying to study, find it really hard to finish it while they start their professional rugby career. How'd you manage to do that?
was probably lucky just that my first couple of years down there, I was able to knock off a few, like have a full year of study my first year, and then I think maybe did 6 papers my second, and then once I was sort of over halfway, I thought, like, I've got to just keep chipping away here, and just tried to do a couple of papers a semester, maybe one, when footy got a bit more full on. But yeah, I was stoked to be able to tick that off in the end.
No, that's massive, and no doubt you're going to be one of the great teachers.
Don't know about that.
We'll be recruiting you to Nelson College. But as always, mate, we've gone to the Instagram for some questions, and plenty have come through. Lots of your Ram lads, lots of Turbos. So we'll get through some of these, see what we come up with. But why is Brett the biggest grub to play for the Rams?
I'm definitely not a grub, not on the field anyway. They're probably talking about some off-field stuff when, just being 19 and...
Any stories?
Not really. There was one year we ended up winning the club title, and for some reason they always have the final in Christchurch on a Sunday, and I had an exam on Monday morning at 8 o'clock. I was like, this is going to be a sideshow, and we decided to have the do at our flat. That was our 7-man flat with Geordie.
Oh, yeah.
So that was a hell of a do. People punching holes in the roof and the walls and all sorts, and so I wasn't going to get much sleep that night anyway. And then I just remember waking up like on top of my bed, like fully still in my number one, still got my shoes on, and then I like hit my phone and it was 10 to 8. And I was like, oh no, like under it, no time to get changed, straight in the car, straight out to my exam, like 15-minute drive. So I had to like rock into this exam late, and everyone turns around and sees like me just in an absolute state, and my number one's like coming in like, oh, what's this guy up to?
How did you go?
Yeah, luckily it was multi-choice, so I was sort of just, head spinning, just circling anything. And results come back a couple of weeks later, and I got 50% on the dot, C minus. You beauty.
Oh, that is good stuff. Love that. Okay, next one. Mentioned this one a little bit earlier, but Crookus Rams initiation.
Oh, yeah, probably my year felt pretty crook when I was getting initiated, and then seeing it the year after was just as bad. But you're just so scared because you're all in the flat and they're doing it in the garage, and the older boys will come in and maybe take like 3 at a time or 2 at a time, and they'll blindfold you and pull you into this garage, and there's all sorts of noises going on, and you have to get nude for half of it, and then you just make your way across this table of all sorts of like crook drinks and eating stuff. Yeah, it wasn't fun.
Oh, that does sound horrible. 19-year-old kid, welcome.
Yeah.
Oh, good stuff. Okay, next one. Best Geordie Barrett stitch up. Must be a few of these from you.
I'm not sure. I can't really think of too many. There'd be a lot, but I've been not throwing them under the bus. He's just a shocker, like time management, eh? Like, I remember in the Halls first year we played, I think it was a pre-season game, and I was warming up, and we'd always like kick together in the warm-up. And then like he just wasn't there, and I was like, oh no, like, so I sprinted over to the Halls, like banging on his window, and the curtains are shut, and he like pulls the blinds, and he's like what? And I'm like, we're warming up, like what are you doing? And he's like, bullshit. And so like he runs out, like no brekkie, just straight changed, and like typical him, like still plays well, like unbelievable.
Oh, that is good. Like that one. Classic Geordie. Okay, next one. Do you purposely tense your quads lining up a goal kick? I've never noticed this, but after looking through some photos, maybe you do.
No, I definitely don't. I think it's maybe like the same The same thing that I do as Geordie, like we got taught to sort of go up on our, like rock up onto our toes a couple of times. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it's there.
And maybe a bit of Richie who said he just wears extra small shorts.
Yeah, well, I kind of have to anyway because I'm quite short, so I'm always in between.
Yeah.
In between sizes, so I'm probably am on a bit of the smaller side.
Yeah. You either go short and small or baggy like Marty McKenzie.
Yeah. His are down below his ass and he's got his socks down. Hell of a setup.
Okay, next one. Can you ask him how many fresh limes he takes around the golf course?
Yeah, I know who this is from. And yeah, he's good for a stitch up. Trying to get out for a casual day on a, game of golf on a day off, and he turns up with a box of Coronas and a little Tupperware container pre-cut limes ready to go.
Is this for the turbos?
Yeah.
Oh, how good's that? Can hold midweek. Okay, next one. Oh, this is the people's champ here. Here he comes. Have you ever been late to training because of a big night midweek? Sam Henwood.
Oh, yeah, I did not get off to a good start over here. So we had like a bit of a Christmas do, and I'd only just got here, and it was on a Sunday for some reason, and we had a couple of beers with dinner, and I was like, it's a good chance to get to know the foreign boys, and of course old Henny, he's like, yeah, no, we'll go take you to this pub down the road. We'll show you the spots, and then we go out, a few more, keep going. And like I've almost just fully forgotten that we've got a gym in the morning and just not in a good state, and then I've just missed my alarm. Boys are ringing me like, where are you? We're in the gym. And I'm like, oh, rock up late, not a good look, first week.
They hate stuff like that too over there, eh?
Yeah, somehow I've kind of got away with it. Probably cop a fine at the end of the year, but...
That is lucky. But Henwood would have been feeding you all of those strong zeros and all sorts of concoctions to get you absolutely hammered, no doubt.
Oh, big time. He loves it. Last time he turned up with a backpack full of just all sorts of crook Japanese beers. He's like, yeah, these go good. What, highball, whiskey and sodas? It's like horrific.
Oh, he's a rooster, that's for sure. Okay, next one. Are you eligible for another nation with the new stand-down rules?
No, I'm not. Nah, haven't got any affiliations with any other.
Nothing.
Nah.
True. Oh, that's interesting. Any Māori? Nah.
Nah. Dad works for the Māori Land Court, so we'll say maybe just a touch.
Okay, next one. Oh, this is from Johnny Fauli. How's the yen? Coming from him, this is a big call.
Yeah, coming from him. He's been over in Japan for how long now? For that reason, he must be on big tin.
Mate, just breaking it, eh?
Nothing on old Johnny.
How have you found your first few yen payments? Though it's always pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is. It's good for the headspace if you're having a rough month, and then you get to the end of the month and payday rolls across.
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, no, this is all good. We'll keep going.
Yeah, when life gets tough over there, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just refresh the bank account. That goes on to the next one. What's the worst part about living in Japan? What have you found?
It's probably just been like the COVID restrictions still. Like we haven't been allowed to do too much. Like I'd love to get out and explore and sort of get the full experience, but it's just the way it is at the moment. Like most of the time we haven't even been able to go out and eat out. So it's been pretty tough in that sense.
How are you eating? Are you cooking yourself, or are you doing the Elliot Dixon Uber Eats?
Yeah, no, I've been trying to cook for myself, but it's tough cooking for one every night of the week.
It is.
You get pretty sick of it, so it's fairly basic around here.
What's your go-to?
I sometimes just whip up like a big curry and freeze some, and then if I can't be bothered, I can just heat that up.
Living Japanese curry.
Yeah.
Do you like that natto?
Oh, nah, not a fan, eh? Did you used to like it?
Oh, awful stuff. I couldn't stand it, but some of the boys got into it, eh?
Yeah, they love it, eh?
Would have been a great snack for when you're cooking for one, just to smash back some natto.
Tell you who loves it, Henny.
Does
I don't
he?
know why.
Yeah.
He smashes it. He said it's like a wee dessert for him. Yeah.
Any free food for Henny goes down a treat.
Yeah, that'll be it.
Okay, next one. The next question is from our sponsors, Swish. If you could get a video shout out from anyone, who would it be and why?
Probably Tiger Woods. He's probably my favourite sportsman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's just the GOAT.
Both absolute grubs off the field.
No way.
Okay, next one. Who's the best 10 in world rugby right now?
Well, that's a tough one, eh? There's a few, obviously, like Bodie and Richie, that like on their day, unreal, and then there's just like Intermac and his combination with the 9 in France at the moment is pretty unreal as well.
Who would you be picking if you had to choose one? 3 good shouts. Hard to argue.
I'll go for Rich.
Yeah, I thought you would. There it is.
Yeah.
Good call. Okay, 2 more. Who's the most influential player in Japanese rugby?
Is that another question from Henny, is it? He wants me to say Sam Henwood.
Oh, this one might be from Damien McKenzie, actually.
I don't know. I haven't watched like a lot of the top league stuff, so I probably don't have much to say in that sense. But there's a few good players here in the second division. Like obviously Quade Cooper, he pretty much runs the show for Kintetsu, so he's up there in our division. And then there's a few good foreigners at Mitsubishi.
Have you found it weird, like playing in a competition which you don't really follow as much as you normally would?
Yeah, it is weird. Like you sort of don't really know what to expect initially. And then new sort of challenges every week, and it's a bit different, but it's cool coming up against foreign guys that you've either played with or watched, and it's cool catching up with them after the game.
Yeah, that's the one thing you notice when you get over there is how many guys who you haven't seen for years popping up in all sorts of Japanese leagues, and you're playing against them and you're like, oh shit, that's where you've been for the last 8 years, eh?
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy.
Okay, last question. Question I ask everyone, always like to finish on some inspiration, and going from what you've been through, this could be the most inspirational out of them all. Best piece of advice you have for our What a Lad listeners?
Oh, it's always a tough one. I think like just what resonates with me the most is probably just be patient. Like there's just no point worrying about what other people are doing around you in terms of what you want to achieve, and with that just probably like know who you listen to is a massive one.
Any tips on being patient? Obviously a lot of young guys coming through always feel like they're in a race, always comparing with other guys from their age groups, or guys who they might have been in New Zealand 20s with, who have kicked on a lot quicker. Have you got any techniques you use to stay patient?
Yeah, I sort of struggled with that a little bit as well. Like when I first moved down to Christchurch, there were guys that were already signed NPC, Crusaders contracts, and I just remember talking to my teacher at school, and he just kept saying to me like, you're in the right place, just do your time, and if you keep setting small goals along the way, and just don't question your work ethic, you just got to work harder and do everything you can, then that's really all you can do. But it's crazy how it catches up. Like school stuff doesn't really matter, so I guess for young guys, like you got so much time, so yeah, just be patient.
Mate, that is powerful. Love that. What a way to finish the podcast. One of the great journeys, and what a lad you are. As everyone promised me, You have definitely delivered, one of the greats. That teacher sounds like he had a massive influence on you, and no doubt in the future you're going to be having that influence on so many other kids as you finish your rugby career, hopefully kick the winning goal for the All Blacks over in France, and then life after footy, inspiring the next generation as a school teacher. Looking forward to following it, mate.
No, I appreciate it. I love your work, and thanks for having me on. It's been good to have you on. Appreciate it.
Mate, you're a lad. Appreciate it, mate.
Cheers.